Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Boss Economic World, where we peel back the layers of the financial onion without making you cry unless you're shorting the market today, in which case, pass the tissues. I'm your host, The Boss, and today is December 10th, 2025. Grab your coffee, or perhaps a shot of ouzo, because history isn't just rhyming today, it's singing a full-blown opera. If I told you 10 years ago that a Greek finance minister would be the front-runner to run the Eurogroup, the very classroom where Greece used to get sent to the corner with a dunce cap, you would have told me to check my medication. You would have said, boss, that's like putting the guy who burned down the kitchen in charge of the fire department. But folks, look at the calendar. It is late 2025. The world has turned upside down. Up is down, cats are dogs, and Greece? Greece is the new fiscal responsible adult in the European room. Tomorrow, Kyriakos Pyrakakis, the man who digitized the Greek state, faces off against Belgium's Vincent van Petegem for the presidency of the Eurogroup. This isn't just a bureaucratic shuffle. This is the ultimate redemption arc. It is the financial equivalent of Rocky IV, but instead of boxing gloves, we're using primary surpluses and digital wallets. Today, we are going to analyze the truth behind this vote, the irony of the Belgian debt bomb, and why the winner of this seat will inherit the hardest job in global finance, saving the European economy from irrelevance in a world of trade wars and crypto anarchy. Let's dive in. To understand the absurdity and the beauty of this moment, we have to rewind. Do you remember 2015? I know, we try to block it out. But cast your mind back. The Eurogroup meetings were late-night horror shows. Yanis Varoufakis was riding motorcycles and driving Wolfgang Schäuble crazy. The headlines were all Grexit, bailouts, and austerity. The Eurogroup was essentially a tribunal, and Greece was the defendant. Jeroen Dijsselbloem, the former Dutch finance minister and the headmaster of that era, famously told the Greeks to stop spending money on drinks and women. It was acrimonious. It was ugly. Fast forward to today. That same Dijsselbloem recently said, it would be a true recognition of the success of Greece to turn the page and lead in the Eurozone. Excuse me? Did hell just freeze over? No. Greece just did the homework. Kyriakos Pyrakakis isn't your typical accountant politician. Before taking the finance portfolio, he was the Minister of Digital Governance. He's the guy who took the labyrinth of Greek bureaucracy, famous for requiring 5 stamps from 3 different dead people just to get a driver's license, and put it all on an app. He represents competence 2.0. His narrative isn't just, we cut spending. It's, we modernized. And in 2025, that is a sexy narrative. Now, let's look at his opponent, Vincent van Petegem. Vincent is a smart guy. He's capable. But he has a heavy anchor tied to his ankle, Belgium. Here is the irony that makes economists chuckle into their spreadsheets. Belgium hosts the European Commission. It hosts NATO. It is the beating heart of the establishment. And yet, if you look at the books, Belgium is looking a lot like, well, Greece circa 2010. Let's look at the data, and remember, numbers don't lie, only politicians do. The scoreboard. Greece, producing primary budget surpluses. That means if you ignore the interest payments on old debt, the government is actually bringing in more cash than it spends. Their debt-to-GDP ratio, while still high, is shrinking faster than a wool sweater in a hot dryer. Belgium, scrambling to rein in deficits far above the EU's sacred ceiling of 3% of GDP. Here is a terrifying projection for you. At current trajectories, Belgium's debt is on track to potentially exceed Greece's by the end of this decade. Let that sink in. If Pyrakakis wins, he walks into the room with the swagger of a reformed smoker teaching a lung cancer ward how to quit. If Van Petegem wins, he has to lecture other countries on fiscal discipline while his own house is technically on fire. The markets see this. Greek bond spreads against the German bond are tighter than they've been in 15 years. Investors are saying, I trust Athens more than I trust half of Northern Europe. So, why are they fighting for this job? The Eurogroup presidency used to be about managing crises within the family. Now, it's about managing the extinction of the family. The vacancy appeared after Pascal Donahoe resigned abruptly. Why? We can speculate. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he saw the forecast for 2026 and decided he'd rather spend more time with his Guinness. Because let's be honest, the to-do list for the next president is a nightmare. This isn't 2015 anymore. The problems aren't internal, they are existential. Challenge number 1, the 5% NATO bombshell. We are living in a new geopolitical reality. The prompt mentions the burden of NATO commitments to spend 5% of GDP on defense. Friends, do you understand what 5% of GDP means? For decades, Europe struggled to hit 2%. Moving to 5% is a war economy. That is cold conflict spending. For a finance minister, this is a catastrophe. You have to find that money. Where does it come from? You can't print it. You have to cut social services, healthcare, or education. The next Eurogroup president has to convince 20 different finance ministers to slash their welfare states to buy drones and missile shields, all while keeping the voters from rioting. Good luck with that. Challenge number 2, the American Wall and the Chinese Dragon. It's late 2025. The US trade policies have toughened. We are looking at a protectionist America that has essentially said, buy American or pay the tariff. Simultaneously, China is no longer just the factory of the world, they are the competitor eating Europe's lunch, specifically in high-tech manufacturing and EVs. The European model, we make nice cars and sell them to everyone, is broken. The EU is struggling to stay competitive. The Eurogroup needs a strategy that isn't just let's hope global trade returns to normal. It won't. Challenge number 3, the crypto-euro pivot. This is where Pyrakakis has the edge. The euro is in danger of becoming an analog currency in a digital world. We have Bitcoin hitting new highs. We have stablecoins eroding the monetary sovereignty of central banks. We have the digital yuan being used for cross-border trade in Asia. The ECB is pushing for the digital euro, but the politicians are terrified of privacy concerns. Pyrakakis, as a former digital affairs minister, speaks this language. He understands blockchain. He understands that if the euro doesn't digitize, it dies. Van Petegem? He's seen as the traditionalist. In a world of algorithms, do you want an abacus? Here is the deeper issue. Does the Eurogroup even matter anymore? When Jean-Claude Juncker ran the show, he was the king of Europe. When Dijsselbloem was there, he was the enforcer. But in recent years? The Eurogroup has been drifting. It's like a reunion band that plays the old hits but hasn't released a new album in a decade. They discuss capital markets union, a boring phrase that means let's make it easier to move money around. They've been discussing it for 10 years. It's the waiting for Godot of finance. The voters are confused, too. Look at the polling. 28% of Greeks still think the euro is a bad thing. And yet, Greece has the highest proportion of voters demanding more coordination. What does that tell you? It tells you that people hate the medicine but they know they need the doctor. They want a European Union that actually works, not one that just holds meetings. The next president needs to turn the Eurogroup from a debating society into an economic war room. If I were a betting man, and as an economist, I only bet on sure things, like taxes and death, I'd look closely at the Greek candidate. Why? Because Europe loves a symbol. Choosing a Greek president sends a massive signal to the world, the crisis is over. The system works. It validates the suffering of the Greek people over the last 15 years. It says, look, we broke them, we rebuilt them, and now they are leading us. It is the ultimate PR win for the Brussels elite. Furthermore, Pyrakakis offers a skill set for the future rather than the past. If Van Petegem wins, it's business as usual. And business as usual is currently leading Europe into a slow stagnation, squeezed between the US and China. Okay boss, you ask, why do I care who sits in the fancy chair in Brussels? Here is why. 1. The digital euro is coming. If Pyrakakis wins, expect this to accelerate. This means the way you save, spend, and maybe even how the government tracks your taxes is about to change. 2. Defense bonds. With that 5% NATO target, the Eurogroup is likely going to have to issue joint debt to pay for defense. We are talking about war bonds by another name. This will change the bond market landscape entirely. 3. Austerity 2.0? If Belgium and France don't get their act together, the Eurogroup is going to have to crack the whip again. But this time, the whip will be held by a Greek. The irony is delicious, but the pain will be real. We are standing at a crossroads. Thursday's vote isn't just about a job title. It's a choice between the old Europe and the new reality. The old Europe is Belgium, comfortable, bureaucratic, but slowly sinking under debt and complacency. The new reality is Greece, battle-hardened, leaner, digitized, and hungry to prove it belongs. It is a testament to the resilience of economies. Greece went through a depression that wiped out 25% of its GDP. They were the pariahs. Now, they are the model pupils. So, as we watch the vote count, remember this lesson: in economics, as in life, you are never truly out of the game until you sell your assets. You can be down, you can be bankrupt, but if you restructure, reform, and modernize, you can end up running the bank. I'm the boss. Keep your eyes on the data, keep your wallet close, and for the love of Zeus, pay your debts or at least digitize them so they look smaller on a phone screen. See you in the next episode.